I would tag Richard in my post. Yeah, and then I got the block, right? And then, Pdai comes around, Hodlonomics gets me into it. Some time goes by, we get this big community, and people are in there like, hey, like, telling us, I've learned from a few people that like they are followed by Richard, right? And these are people that are like posting about Pdai, posting about Atropa, tagging Richard Hart in their posts, things like this, and they're not getting blocked. So I think that is actually a signal.
Good point. Very good point. It's a perspective I didn't consider. Yeah, another
Can you go
point.
deeper in on that? Because I don't think I'm following.
So he's saying he was shilling a token that wasn't Richard's. Richard blocked him, and I've heard this story from a lot of people. Basically, anybody that shilled any token was getting blocked by Richard.
Yeah.
He's not. These people are shilling Pdai and all the and other Atropa things, yet they're still followed by Richard.
Oh yeah, he's not blocking anybody shilling Pdai and Atropa?
No.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if I made shitcoin number 1031 and started shilling the crap out of it, tagging Richard, and I'd get blocked.
Zach, I still kind of sit on my thoughts of like who the like Atropa dev is or whatever. That I still think that like Richard Hart knows who that person is. You know what I mean? Like he's not doing it. Like he is not the one that's responsible for Pdai and Atropa, but he knows who's doing it.
How can you be certain of that? Because you heard someone else say that?
I'm
I think
assuming
it's a
that
coin toss, really. That's how close. And I've looked really deeply at the contracts, the behavior of them. I mean, it's damn near a coin toss to be, and I would bet on that.
Yeah.
Hey, Angel, have you seen this new GitHub?
What, the Atropa GitHub? No, people are telling me to go look at it. A lot of people, maybe I will take some time to do it.
Yeah, you should go look at it.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about, and so we found out who is the 414. Right, we have his name. We know who he is. And he was actually a previous person who worked for Microsoft, and he also worked for NASA. And there's no really relation to him and Richard Hart.
There you go.
There's no relation to him and Richard Hart so far, other than that they're both like geniuses in math and LP.
Yeah, I don't buy that though. I just don't. I don't care how smart they are. You got another smart guy. He did something also, and Richard had a lot to say about that guy. That guy used to work for Google. I don't buy that. There's no connection whatsoever.
No, I'm not saying there's not. We haven't found a connection yet between the two.
Yeah,
you just haven't found it.
File that is for the Pulse team. That's like how it's labeled. So we know that this guy is working with the Pulse team.
Was the GitHub? How long ago was the GitHub created?
I don't know, but I can give it to you because we just found it.
15 years ago.
You want to send me that? 15 years ago?
No, the account that's doing it has stuff from like 14 years ago.
Oh, okay. So they've been around a while.
It's uploaded stuff that has nothing to do with Pulse Chain or anything, but like you can see it's history, right?
Well, that's interesting.
I was just gonna say, inside this GitHub, there's a file called Atropa Android, and it's a Android app for Atropa.
Yeah, so I think that there's a connection between those two, between Richard Hart and this guy. I really think that there is, but I don't think that like Richard Hart's his boss. You know what I'm saying?
Someone once said, I believe they ate at the same table at one point, and I think that's a really it's a really strong statement.
You really think Richard had a GitHub that long ago? Is that what you're saying?
No,
I think he might have had a GitHub that long ago.
But yeah,
the dude was mining.
Nah,
you don't think so?
People that originally did in GitHub were like devs, like real hardcore engineers, software and hardware and electrical.
Not a dev, you're right. Yeah, that's what I said.
Right, like hardcore GitHubbers are like electrical engineers, hardware engineers, and software engineers. They would have 15 years ago.
You know, like businesses and shit.
The guy's name is James Ellis Osborne III. So if anybody wants to go look him up, that's who it is.
Is it just a sound? I mean, it's kind of doesn't. It sounds American-ish.
No, he lives in the Northern Europe area.
Northern Europe.
Denmark or wherever, somewhere
awfully close to someone we know.
Yeah, that kind of sounds really close to someone we know.
I said, I would bet they ate at the same table. If it's not him, they ate at the same table, and he trusts this person.
There's a video on YouTube of him giving a lecture about some fucking high-grade mathematics from 2018. If anybody wants to go check it out.
Yeah,
he's definitely a math genius for sure.
Zach, in that video, like the way that I linked, like, okay, I was like, this is that guy that's in control of that GitHub account, was when he was doing that presentation, the file that he was doing the presentation with, and the name of it is one of his it lines up perfectly with it's literally the file and one of the things that he was working on GitHub.
The dystopia thing?
Dysmorphia,
dysnomia,
that's what it is. Yeah, and that dude's a big brain, man. He probably lives on a whole nother consciousness, like a plane.
Super interesting stuff. I mean, he's a fan of K-pop. Like he likes, he's creating tokens like fucking. I don't know. So yeah, Angel, I don't know if you heard my last space, but we saw this 414 wallet launch this token called YouTube, right? And
yeah, I
then
was talking to you right when it happened. Remember?
yeah, and then they launched this other token called, what was it?
It had a timestamp in it.
Timestamp, yeah, and then tokenized address. So it led us to all this stuff, like this video of these Japanese K-pop artists, and there was like a trailer, and there was a date in it that had at the very end it said like October 11th, 2023, and so that was like a signal from the 414. And I'm honestly thinking that there may be some kind of like reveal or some kind of release or some kind of thing happening on the 11th.
You guys are geeks.
Yeah. I mean, we're nerds, bro. That's for sure.
Y'all definitely knows that like water sprinkled up y'all ass. Definitely.
I also believe in
And-
aliens. We can talk about that too.
Yeah, Angel. If you look into that dude's GitHub, you'll come across a file of all of the Atropa tokens. That's what it is. It's just a file or whatever of all the Atropa tokens, even ones that you've never heard of before, and like different wallets and stuff. So
Yeah, there's even a file with people in Pulse Chain, right? Like 9iron, people who hold a lot of Pdai, a lot of Atropa. There's a list of those people, like the top holders of certain tokens, like with certain names associated with them. And he gave certain names, like they're all celebrities, like right, like 9iron has this name. It's like this woman celebrity. It's really weird, but they're all different celebrities, but they're people that are in Pulse Chain that have like high token amounts. Of
yeah, so
certain
he knows he's watching what's going on for sure.
Has he made any?
You know?
Yeah, like I said, a
connections?
math savant probably. Maybe he's even on the spectrum a little bit, and I don't say that in a mean or insulting way. But affect hex more, make more hex in every Atropa pairs.
I'll
You'll
post
see
the
Heartful.
video. I'll post the video of Richard talking about how a hex is going to perform in a bear market. He said it's tied to USDC for the majority. So
Yeah, but that was on Ethereum, so.
Can I give an unpopular opinion?
sure,
I think Hexel needed a 10,000x because Pulse Chain launch.
100%.
Pulse chain never happened. Like its all time high would have been like 5
20
cents.
cents. 20, I think.
No, it'd have been like 10 cents because it jumped to a penny, went from a penny to like 10 cents at the top of the bull, and then we all heard Pulse Chain.
What was the price when Pulse Chain was announced? Because that'll tell you where.
It was a penny.
It was a penny when it not. What? Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like penny.
I came in right at like 6 or 7 cents right after the announcement. So like I'm literally like living proof of what he's saying because I probably never would have came into Hex if I didn't hear about Pulse Chain.
Yeah, so my brother bought Hex because he heard about the Pulse Chain launch.
Right.
So
Same.
that's what brought him in.
That's what got me here. That's why my Pulse
we had a few months. What do we have? Like 5 months after, maybe 6. I'm guessing. I'm not in front of a chart. Bull market still though. After that, maybe whoever said 10 cents. I think that's a pretty good guess. Just based on
the 10
looking at a chart.
The 10-cent wick was because he was talking about doing a movie, and he put out that statement of like, if you have a galaxy brain, you don't have to think. Because you already know all the bullish sentiment that like we're pushing. We have Pulse Chain coming out. You're gonna have a fork. You're gonna have this movie. He's like, there's all these cool things, and then it just went from 10 cents to the moon.
Yeah, I remember thinking, and it even got, man, it's so the hysteria is so contagious. Even smart minds can get caught up in it. Like you just sometimes feel like it's gonna go up forever.
Did the movie ever come out?
Yeah, the movie's out.
Yeah,
it didn't. And when it came out, it didn't even pump either. I had a buddy that like bought 6 or 7 grand because the movie was coming out. I'm like, bro, it's not gonna move. I'm like,
yeah, I was surprised about that. I thought that was like the ace in the hand for it waiting to be played. I think it's the way it came out.
No,
it needs to be on Netflix.
I think that the movie being released in theaters was for us, and I think that once it hits mainstream platform, I think that that's going to be like the main movie. Okay, look, let's say
I agree.
that,
I know what you're saying. And
if the timing is
right,
if the timing is right, the highest of stakes movie is going to be the movie that everybody sees on whatever platform it gets put on in the middle of a bull market. Okay, like that's when you're going to start seeing this movie being paid off. Like it being put in theaters, I think that was for us, and we showed up for it, and we put good numbers on the board,
The numbers speak for themselves. I mean, there were not that like high of numbers that went and saw the movie. Like they had really big turnout on like the first day, but it played actually 3 days in New York City. I went to see it twice. The first day was a packed theater. Second day, I was like one of 20 people there. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, but like for a cryptocurrency documentary in a movie theater, the numbers weren't bad, right?
Yeah, I think
Like
the numbers are
nobody goes
decent
to a
too
movie
for how
theater
they
for a
launched it.
documentary,
If you're comparing
right?
it apples to apples.
Yeah,
I bought 10
yeah,
tickets and never even seen the movie yet because I
yeah.
couldn't go. I wanted to go see it in Miami. I think I told you. Yeah, that was this space. I
You
think I
you
talked
gotta
about
you
that.
gotta take that movie and what it is and put it in its own class and see how it performs against other movies of its own class in a theater. And normally they don't break the
There
box
isn't
office.
there is no other movie like it that's ever been in theaters before ever. There's never
Yes.
been a crypto movie or any type of documentary about cryptocurrency that's hit American theaters.
Yeah. Well, a documentary in general. How many documentaries?
I just don't understand, like, when it comes to forks and bear cycles. In my opinion, I thought Hex would do the best during a bear cycle, especially because of like the fork and everything. And all the previous forks I've been in, they've always had one that swings up to the upside. But with this
Well,
ecosystem, it's just like all 4 or 5 are just going nuclear like down, and it's
you can
like
make
it's
the
weird.
argument that Hex has done the probably one of the best out of all the coins in the bear market because besides like everything that's like died in the past 3 years, Hex has been doing its thing. And somewhere in the middle of
You're
this bear
talking about
market,
no negative anything under negative 95%. Like the
No,
1%,
I,
the 96
I'm
just
percent
not.
for
is a
tokens.
I'm
I
hundred.
talking
think.
It's
about
a
like
hundred
how it
x
functions,
lower.
right?
What in
I'm not
history
talking
has
about
come
price.
back from that though? There's only I think 3 tokens ever to hit
Quite a
95%
few.
and come back and hit another all-time high. No, not quite a few. I think there's 3.
Quite a few.
I think 3. In fact, I
Well,
can't
there'll
remember today.
be well, there'll be quite
Cardano. I think
there'll
Cardano
be
might
like
be one,
11 more
or was it ADA? I
because
could.
all Zen will.
So I'd like to
But
make the
here's the thing.
argument.
I can see Hex doing it. So all it has to do is hit 56 cents because it has to hit an all-time high for that number to be right. I believe it was 3 tokens in history has ever hit 95% and then came back and made another all-time high. I can see Hex doing it, and here's why: Atropa, because I actually understand how it works, and I also understand that energy that Atropa is building up like a volcano ready to explode can be put into anything that whoever's controlling it wants to put it into. Imagine if all that energy went into his favorite somebody's favorite token.
Yeah, I think that
I
would.
think you'll be surprised at what Hex does in the next cycle. I'm just saying that's me personally. I think Hex will continue to shock people. Maybe not right now because it looks like garbage. But I think you'll be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it did something crazy.
I would just love to like hear Richard explain to like everybody, like, because even with Doge and anything that made a double bottom, he would talk so much shit about it because it's never gonna, like, he talks shit about XRP just because it never hit another all-time high, right? As soon as you break that double bottom, people don't buy it. People will like, it'll never do another all-time high as soon as it breaks the double bottom. Like the fact that we ran up to 50 cents and now we're in a bear market and we're back to day one prices. Like the day one, you're better off just not ever being in Hex and just holding the Ethereum. Like going into that
But
A lobby, it was a complete waste of time.
I could totally see Hex doing another 10,000 X, and I've thought about how it could be done. And just knowing that his firstborn, that's his child, with the power that he has, if you look at the dang sacrifice wallet,
He
most
could
the
do
money
it.
hasn't gone anywhere. If he can do it, which
Well,
I
what
just
do you
think
think?
what do you think though? The money would be better spent like stabilizing Pdai, wouldn't it? Instead of like just pumping Hex.
It's possible they both can happen. They could both work in synchronicity. I don't stabilizing Pdai though. Wait, what? Like everybody thinks it's going to go to $1. It
Well,
doesn't have
the
to go to
only
$1 for it to be a stable coin. It could be pegged at a penny.
No, but it would be a joke if it was pegged at a penny.
but the only
It would be
reason
a
why,
joke if it was
like
pegged
the
at a
only
penny.
reason
Then meanwhile, Hex has gone to $1. Is it still good? People aren't going to care about Pdai. The only thing they're going to be talking about is how Hex was the first token in history, one of 3 to come back from a 95% correction, and the only one to ever repeat its first market cycle in its second market cycle.
well,
That
the
seems
only
like
reason
bigger
why I think
news to me.
I
the
think
only
that it's
reason why I think
important. I think it's important that people, also take note that like Hex basically like okay, it's down 99 or whatever percent, but like it basically like the value of Hex birthed like Pulse Chain, like because most of the sacrifice value was from people sacrificing their Hex. So most of that, all of that Hex value through a bear market was transferred into Pulse Chain, right? Into Pulse Chain, PulseX, and then from there, whatever tokens it went to allocate whatever value to whatever, right? So like, yeah, Hex is down all of that, like that much, but is the value gone from it? I don't think that the value disappeared. I think that it
No,
was just
no, I don't
transferred
think so.
into
I
basically
mean,
birthing Pulse Chain,
the liquidity
right?
pools are nuked. The price is nuked. Everything
Yeah,
is
of
like,
course. I don't really
What's the
look at price.
liquidity on it right now? And I haven't
I
really
don't
been
really look at
following
price
it,
when I'm
and
talking
I'm
about
a
stuff like that.
diehard Hexakin, but it's just kind of it's like a sleeping giant. I feel like right now it's like a it's in a bear cycle, so it's hibernating, and I don't know. I just kind of have this feeling that Hex is gonna shock a lot of people when it wakes up. That's all I'm saying.
I think it is too. And about like 2 weeks into Pulse Chain, I got really deep into it, and I made a couple videos how about how like Hex is basically the primary store of value as like the primary currency on the chain, and not like basically Pulse Chain was getting its value from the value of Hex and not like the dollar coins coming in. Does that make sense? Like there was so much more Hex being that was like affecting the chain and the value of everything on the chain than the dollars were at the time. I haven't gone back into it and looked and like updated it, but Hex
It might have
carries a
been true at the
lot of fucking
beginning.
weight on the chain. Like
It
it
might have been
carries a
true at the
lot of weight on
beginning,
the chain.
but then Richard rugged the hex farm, and ever since that
Yeah,
happened, like the price has just plummeted, and the pools have
yeah,
been like not in there anymore.
right. I think
Yeah,
everybody
do
was
you know why he
saying
rugged it though?
because people were
Something got by him that he
DASing.
didn't even know. Yeah, yep,
At
exactly.
He
least
rugged it
that's
because
the
there's
narrative,
the V1
anyways.
bug. There's still like people that are on V1 right now. So far, because it's like the only one doing the farm, people have lost $17 million being in those farms.
I think I see somebody tweet about that the other day. They said somebody said something that, and then he was like, "Nobody believed me." And then he posted. I just didn't understand his post because I wasn't there for the conversation. 17 million. Light me on that. How? Like, where's?
So if you're in a V1 pool right now, everything that gets bought and burnt just gets bought and burnt, and you're supposed to earn fees, but you don't get the fee. So it's just like you're just.
Oh yeah, no. I
It's
thought you were
like
talking
when the
about
cup
on.
gets
I think you're
when
talking
you
about.
take the cup and you're sloshing it between the two. It's just a straw going in there and sucking it all out
Yeah,
slowly.
I noticed that there was some interesting behind the scenes activity with it seems like V1 is kind of merging over. Like it's not. It looks to me like the liquidity is moving to V2, and I wouldn't be surprised if eventually V1 wasn't even a thing. It would just be one thing.
Yeah, it's crazy that they haven't fixed the pool. Like, it's a shame. It makes me like really worry about like where Richard's head's at because he always wanted like the best. Like he always wanted 100% uptime, and especially with this launch, I think the launch was garbage. Like so much of it went not where it should have went. It should have been like not having limit orders, not having like so many things that were like V2B is better than what we have now, and that was like 2 years ago we had that, and it's like there's no voting structure, there's no
Yeah, I
so many
agree. I
things
agree.
missing.
It is better for us. It's better. I'd like to have limit orders. I mean, I have them, but they're not on chain. Like I personally have them because I running them locally. But uh, those things that you just talked about, limit orders, single sided staking, Uniswap V3. That version's much better later, and we had those now. What Atropa is actually doing wouldn't even be possible, and how what it's doing wouldn't work. I can kind of see what it's doing. It's crazy. You guys will have everything you want. Unfortunately, we have to deal with this right now. This is an awesome solution to all the problems that we're complaining about right now. It is a solution. You just don't see it yet.
Yeah, but it still comes at the user's expense, right?
It
Even day
does.
one, them having USDC and Pdai and everything on the front page, the fake version. Like, imagine your grandpa going in there and just nuking his wallet day one. Like, we were running spaces and people were coming in being like, "Oh, I'm a millionaire," and I'm like, "No, you're not." What? And the guy's like, "I just sold all my pulse for millions of dollars." I'm like, "Okay, good luck."
Wait, what are you saying? They sold their pulse for the copied USDC?
Yes.
Why the heck? Well, that's not a nobody in here. That's just silly.
Yeah, but
I mean,
if
he
you're
literally warned
95,
everybody not to
if you're
do that.
95, if you're
Worthless.
95 years old and you just like have this chain and everybody thinks it's gonna do a fucking 10,000x the first day, you know what I mean? And you go in there and you look at it, your grandpa, you're not gonna look at what it is, and it says USDC, it says Tether, it says Pdai, it doesn't say fake version of it.
I mean, I kind of see it. I know what you're saying. And that's
The
rather
whole
unfortunate.
thing
I want to. Okay, if you can publicize that guy's wallet, I'll do whatever I can to make sure he gets his damn pulse back. Because
I
that
don't know
sucks.
if it is.
That sucks that he did it. That he did that. But at the same time, though, there has to be very, very few of those cases. Most people realize they understood to copy the contract from whatever DEX screener you were using, and to paste it in there. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And to look a little harder. Although at the same time, though, 5 minutes after launch, I did my best trade of my life because of that kind of stuff. You know, I got a ratio of when I decided to push the button, it was like 10-1 on pulse to pulse X. And by the time the order went through, it was 7-1, and I was still tickled pink. I degened into it. I was hoping that it wasn't, that I didn't overlook something. I'm like, man, I just did my whole bag. I had a whole plan out on how I was going to do this properly, but nope, I seen that. I'm like, all in, slammed it, and then I bought it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Dude, I was sitting on my back porch, right? And then I was in the Telegram chat, and then I see like mainnet, just all across my phone screen. And then like I'm sitting in a stream, and I hear whoever's on the stream go, "Oh my God, Pulse Chain just launched." So I got up, I ran up the stairs, fell into the wall, put a hole in the wall, knocked the nightlight out of the wall. My hand fell into the nightlight, but I didn't know it until I got to the computer, and like there's blood everywhere on my mouse. And I'm like, "Wife, Band-Aid, ASAP, now, please." And I'm sitting here like trying to like log in and type on my computer and get into MetaMask and stuff. And then I 4x'd my hex bag in like a couple minutes, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit back now. I'm happy. Like that was amazing. Yeah, there were some crazy opportunities when that happened.
Yeah, if you were on chain while the bridge was clogged up, which I don't think that was an accident. If you were happy to be there and you seen some of the ratios and you understood, and that's why they warned everybody not to do it. Because obviously, if I'm getting 7-1 on my if I'm getting 7 pulse X for 1 pulse, somebody's selling me 1 pulse X for 7 or 7 pulse X or what? Like that's just a silly. We paid the same thing for both of those.